Hello everyone, it's Katrina from the Alluring Bead Boutique, and I am here today to talk about wire wrapping and making your own components. So over on the Alluring Bead Boutique on the Jeweler's Life blog, I have almost completely published several posts on how to make these gorgeous little components. The ones you see here are all soldered. And then there's a separate tutorial for each one on how to wire wrap. With this one has these beautiful little freshwater pearls and tanzanite chips. These larger copper ovals, we also made those. And there's another tutorial on wrapping these. These are apatite chips and the same little freshwater pearls. Slightly different wire wrapping technique here. And there is another one, a second version over on the website that I don't have here to show you. And then finally, I did a post on creating these beautiful diamond soldered components. If you take a look at the back here, you can see that I did not include like an eye loop at the top of this one because I have this nice, beautiful point where I soldered the component together. And the earring hangs really well right from that point. And then I used these amazonite chips and then these little crystal, half copper finished brioles here at the bottom to finish off the design. And all of this is available if you're interested in learning to make some basic little solder components. Over there, you can check out that series. It's a step-by-step tutorial every step of the way through all of these three particular projects. And these make beautiful little Christmas gifts. They're also relatively easy and fast to do and pretty much inexpensive. So they're also a great idea for things to sell in your shop if you're currently selling your jewelry. Then in my last video, I came back and I did a little tutorial on how to make some components without soldering. And I showed you guys how to make this little delicate, dainty little oval here. And then we made this beautiful leaf shape out of some bronze wire. And as I promised, I would go ahead and get ready to do a video for you on how to wire wrap and finish up these designs. So here's the two ideas that I came up with. This is what I'm going to show you guys today. How to just add this cute little beautiful Swarovski crystal briolet here in the center of this tiny little oval. It looks really cute. It's very sparkly and it's just super easy to do. And for this one, I just used these little 6mm violet round crystals. They are Bead Gallery ones that I got at Hobby Lobby. And then I've just got some 11/0 Toho permanent finish champagne metallic seed beads here that I'm going to use today. We will also be using some 26 gauge weaving wire, which I have bronze here to go with my bronze component. And I don't have any 26 gauge brass, so what I decided to do is use this 24 gauge to match the brass oval here. All right, so the full descriptions and all the rest of the materials are all going to be linked up to a post on the blog. I'll throw a link up for that for you guys. I will throw also a link up for the tutorials here, I'll just throw a link to the whole mini series. That way you can access all the different posts related to these earrings. All right, so let me get my mess kind of cleaned up here, and I'll come back and we will go ahead and get started. So for the first earring, I'm going to show you how to do is this one here. And I'll also throw a link up to the previous video where we actually made these cute little ovals. And we also made the leaf shape in the same video. So I'll throw a link up for that. Also, you are going to need just two little 11x7 crystal brioles. And these are just crystal AB finish, and they are Swarovskis. And I also have some 24 gauge wire here, and I only have a couple of inches. I don't really need a whole lot. I'm only going to create the little section here in the center, and then we're going to wrap the two tails around the neck of our component. You're also going to need a few tools. So you're going to need some good flush cutters. I have my Zorons here. Some chain nose pliers, and I love this little. This is I think it's like Beadsmith or Beadalon little glitter pair, but they've got a nice little tiny small tip on them. I really like this pair for small work. And you might also need a pair of nylon jaw pliers to straighten your wire. And for the second earring, we might also use our steel bench block and our tiny little rawhide mallet here too. I'll show you why when we want to harden our thin wire. The first step we're going to do is we are going to add our little briolet here onto our wire. We're going to create this little formation here at the top. That allows the briolet to swing freely, so you get that extra pretty sparkle in there. But it also secures it and adds a little design element here at the top. Now, I do have step-by-step pictures of this, how to do this, in a couple of different blog posts over on the website where we made the other earrings. But I'll go ahead and show you now. So we're just going to bring our little bead onto our wire and try to get it, right about the center. And it's always easiest if you work with the natural curve in the wire. So I'm going to point that curve upward. Then I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm going to push my wires up straight over the top of my little bead like this. Then I'm going to cross them just a little tiny bit like that. And I got this cute little V shape right here. Then I am going to get my chain nose pliers, and this is why I like this pair with the tiny tip, because I can grab right here above the crystal and I don't have to worry about accidentally breaking my pretty little crystal. I'm going to bring those wires down just a little bit like that so that I can make a nice little twist at the top. I'm going to make two of them. I'm going to twist my wires around one time, and then I'm going to bring them around one more time like that, so that this is what I have. Now, before you actually wrap these onto your component, if you need to straighten up these wires just a little bit, go ahead and do it now. This wire here is, I can't remember. It's an artistic wire I got over at Hobby Lobby, and it's already about half hard. So if you need to make any adjustments to your little drop area, you might as well go ahead and try to get that done now. Because once you get it wrapped on here, it's going to be difficult to get your pliers on that wire with the, around the component. In other words, like that. All right, so I am going to pick up my little component and I'm going to put my little charm right over top. Just like this. And then I'm going to figure out, if I wanted to drop it down, if I wanted to bring it up. I would make any adjustments I needed to here before I continue wrapping. And since I've already done one, I can just bring it right over here and take a look at it. But this will also show you, like, once you get your first one wrapped, you will bring your second one over to make sure that you wrap it properly. So I wrapped these wires. I laid it on top and then I wrapped around and through. So I want to do the same thing on my second component. So it's a little fidgety when you first start, but you have pliers and you can make adjustments. So we're just going to lay it over right here, and then we're going to take this wire and we're going to bring it as far and tight down as we can. Like I said, it's a little fidgety, and if you mess up, just take it apart and start over. Now because this wire is half hard, it's a little bit hard to wrap. So I'm just going to bring it around, and I'm going to bring it through the center. And try to keep this thing centered like that, knowing that you're going to wrap this one on this side. Now, I'm going to use my pliers because basically it's really hard to work on something this small. And I want it to be correct. So I'm going to push this back down a little bit with my pliers until I get it the way I want it. And then I'm going to tighten it up. Just like that. I'm going to take it around and make another wrap. I've got 4 on my first earring. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to use my pliers to make it nice and secure. All right, so I've wrapped it around once. I'm going to bring it around the back again, as tight as I can get it. And I'm using these pliers to pull the wire through the center and make my coils nice and tight. Now, when you get this far, you want to make sure that you go ahead and tighten your little coils together using your chain nose pliers, just like this. If you need to make any adjustments, get your little pliers in there and adjust the best you can. I kind of made a little bend on that right there, and I'm trying to straighten it out. I'm going to come out just a little bit. All right. So now I've got it looking pretty good. So I need to go around again because I'm going to match my other earring. And then as I come around this time, I'm going to bring it sharply to the back. And then I'm going to snip off my end wire. Right here. Using the tip of my flush cutters and the back side of my cutters closest to the part of the wire I'm keeping. Like that. Now you can see I have this little sharp edge poking up, so I need to tuck that in with my chain nose pliers. You just gently squeeze it onto the base wire, like that. So that when you rub your finger over it, you can't feel anything sharp. So now I'm ready to do the other side. If I need to adjust my center crystal, I'm going to do that right now before I start wrapping. It's a little fidgety, but you just have to work with it until you get it the way you want it. So I'm going to turn this over because I'm left-handed. So in this instance, I'm still coming across the front of my wire first, but I'm going through towards the other direction because I flipped the piece over. But I want to double check and make sure that I'm doing it correctly, so I'm going to flip it and look, bring it back before I roll it around again. If I need to, I can use my pliers to pull it through and make it nice and tight. I'm going to go ahead and put my coils together with my pliers. So that everything looks the same on both sides. Just like that. Then I'm going to do an equal amount of coils on this side that I did here. So I've got a couple more to do. I'm going to go around and through. And that is my fourth coil. So now when I come back around, I'm going to bring it nice and snug up against the base wire, like this, before I cut it off. I'm going to take my cutters, snip it off. I'm going to position my coils nice and snug like that, just pinching them together. Then I have to tuck this end. And just kind of pinch and roll like that and get that wire pushed nice and snug against the base. So here's my finished little pair of earrings. The little crystal just swings really prettily inside. And all I can do now is make my perfect matching ear wires that I will throw the link up for that tutorial as well. And I will have a gorgeous little pair of beautiful holiday earrings. So now I'm ready to show you guys how I wire wrapped this pretty little elegant earring. And for this particular one, because we're using some bare wire in our design elements here, you're going to want to make sure that you can get your wire straightened up so that it looks really pretty. So I've got about a 9-inch piece of my 26 gauge bronze weaving wire here. So I just threaded on one of my 6mm violet beads. They're just little round crystals. And for this particular, the way I started this one out, I used the curve of my wire, but I kind of did a little reverse with it. I took this piece and held the curvature facing away from me. Then I took my earring and I turned it upside down, and I positioned the bead in like that before I started wrapping. And that's totally fucking wrong. So I'm going to pick up my earring, and I'm going to hold it upside down. And I've got my weaving wire with the curvature facing away from me. I want it nice as I can get it, so I'm going to use my nylon John pliers, and I'm going to straighten this end up quite a bit because I want it to look really pretty. I am just going to start wrapping this tail end onto my frame. But I want the bead to sit at the bottom. So let's just put it on here and let me show you what I'm talking about. So when I put this onto my earring, you can see that I want the bead on the wire. I want the wire laying on top of the frame. And then I want to take this tail and I'm going to begin to wrap. And I'm going to do 4 coils just like I did on the other earring. I'm going to flip it around and get my chain nose pliers. And I'm going to pull everything, pinch everything together so that my coils are nice and tight. Like that. And I'm going to continue my next coil. Pulling it really snug and getting it as close to the other coil as I can get it. I don't really have to worry about my bead right at this moment. Right now I'm going to concern myself with these coils. Once I've got my coils the way that I want them, I'm going to go ahead and snip off my tail and tuck it in with my chain nose pliers. Just like we've been doing all along, getting rid of our sharp points so that we don't cause injury to our customers or ourselves. And if you happen to have wrinkled up your wire a little bit, just take your fingers like this and smooth it out. And now I'm going to put my bead back on. Working with wire wrapping can be a little bit of a challenge, and it's very painful when your wire gets hung up on your tool. So try to just stay calm and we will get through this. So now I've got my little bead in place right here. And I want to make sure that I'm matching up to my other earring. And everything looks pretty good. So now I need to wrap the wire here on this side 4 times. And I'm going to be wrapping towards this side of my earring. So I'm going to start with my first wrap. And get my coil nice and snug. And then I'm going to continue on. Just like that. I'm going to make sure that my coils look the same. And I do need one more because I want to come up to the top side of my earring again. So that my wire is right here on the top part of the frame. Like that. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers again. Tighten my coils together. Make everything look nice and professional. And here's the little tricky part. I'm actually going to change the flow of this curve. I am going to make it curve this way. And I'm just going to use my finger to do that. Just like that. You'd be amazed at how much you can manipulate this wire just using your fingertips. It helps if you don't have long fingernails, like this thumbnail's getting in the way, so I will just use my forefinger because I cut the nail off of that one. If you're going to get serious about your wire work, fingernails can become quite a problem. So once you get the wire looking pretty decent, then we're going to figure out where we want to wrap it. So this earring is actually going this way, and I've got my wire on the wrong side, folks. So let me just bring it around. There we go. Now I got it right. I'm actually trying to mirror image exactly what I did on the other earring as I work. So now I'm going to match it up. I can flip this earring over to get it exact. So I'm going to flip that one over to the back side. And I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to measure to where I want that wire to wrap, which is about right here. And once I get it figured out, I'm going to pinch it with my finger and then I'm just going to wrap my first coil. Now I can make any adjustments that I might need to make before I move on. So the first adjustment I'm going to make is I'm going to bring the bottom coil up to the top one like that. Just from eyeballing it, I can see that that's the way I want to mimic it, like that. If you need to make any adjustments, you need to do it now before you continue wrapping. And then I need to take a look and see how many coils I wrapped. So I have 3 coils coming around and bringing the wire back up to the top side. So let's go ahead and get that done. So my wire is going this way, so I need to go 1, 2, and take a look. Now my wire, if you'll notice, is on the wrong side here because I've got had the earring upside down. So I actually need to do one more before I come all the way back to the top. So I'm going to come back around, and then I'm going to come back to the top like that. I'm going to pinch these coils, make everything look really nice and professional. Just like that. Okay, so here I'm back again. Now I've got my initial earring flipped upside down so I can mirror this up. I have loaded on my beads, which my bead sequence is 3 11/0s, a 6 millimeter, 3 11/0s, 6 millimeter, 3 11/0s, 6 millimeter, and 3 11/0s. And I've got those loaded on. And once again, this time my wire is actually curving in the direction that I'm working, so it's going to be a lot easier to manipulate. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to match up where I wrapped this wrapped onto the frame up here and begin my wraps here, but I want to make sure I wrap in the same direction. So on this particular earring, I wrapped upwards towards the eye loop. So that's what I want to do on my second earring. I'm just going to get my little shape into place. Do any fixing that I might need to do. Then I'm going to go ahead and wrap. And make my coils nice and tight. And I'm going to stop right there and make any adjustments that I need to make before I finish up. So what I'm doing is I'm pinching my coils together. I am taking a look at how many wraps I did, which I did my same 4 that I've been doing pretty much right on and on this design. So I've got 2 more to go. So there's the 3rd one. And as I bring this one around, I want to make sure that I don't accidentally wrap onto my frame where we made the frame here. And I want to pinch my coils, bring it to the back side, just like we did before, snug up against the frame, and then end the wire. Take your chain nose pliers and tuck in any sharp point that you might feel from where you cut your wire off, just like that. Now when I flip this earring correctly, you can see that I have this beautiful mirror image going on. I'm not real satisfied with the way this wire is looking right here. I'm going to pause for a moment, see if I can't make a little slight adjustment and get these wires looking a little bit more uniform. Let's bring this in just a little bit and show you up close. And so now this earring once again is still upside down, but I just do that so that I can, check my work. And everything looks a lot better now. I've got those 2 bottom wires looking just about almost identical. So the only thing we have left to do is to wrap this little loop right here. Now this particular part is a lot easier to start basically because you can just start anywhere you want. Just want to make sure you get a nice, smooth looking curve on your wire that you're going to be attaching. We're going to go ahead and position it fairly close to where we want it. And we're going to go ahead and wrap one end. So you can either wrap the top or you can wrap the bottom. I'll probably go ahead and start at the bottom just because I have a lot more open space here to manipulate my wire. I'm going to actually bring this around and shorten that up so I don't have quite as much tail that I have to bring through the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start wrapping this tail thread or the tail wire first. And I'm going to make sure I get my coils tight right from the onset here. And I'm going to, because I'm making my copy already, I want to make sure I get the, the same amount of coils on the second earring, which I did 4 the whole way, so I know I have to do 4. And once I can see 4, then I can really fix my coils a little better here. My top one's kind of got way far away. I'm going to go ahead and double check my coils, and I think I need one more, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up one more. I'm going to bring it around and to the back, just like we've been doing. I'm going to flip it over and cut off my tail. I'm going to go ahead and tuck in my sharp point, just because it's a lot easier to do now than trying to finish it all up at the end. Alright, so now I have the bottom coils done. Let me flip my piece over here, and we're going to try to make sure that we get this in the exact same spot. So I actually got them lined up really well, so pretty good there. I am going to just bring the rest of my working wire over until I find the exact spot where I want to wrap it. And that looks about exactly correct there, so where I've already got it pinched, so we're doing really well. So the basic thing we need to do is just bring that wire down and try to get it sunk into position like that. I'm going to flip my work around, and then I'm going to cut off just a tiny bit of my weaving wire because I don't want to mess up all this beautiful work I've done. I'm going to bring it around. Then I'm going to go ahead and use the pliers. So using your pliers really helps a lot. And before you go any further, double check to see how you're doing. I've got that upside down, so let's double check. That's looking really well. I'm going to go ahead and just finish this off. So all I have to do is do the same amount of coils, which is, I've been making 4 coils. Make sure I'm going the right way. Now, it's really cramped up in here, so I'm going to use my pliers to finish my coils. I can actually poke that through, and I can grab it with my pliers. I can tighten my coils up, make sure I'm not misshaping my beautiful little loop. Double check as I work. And I can see that I got a couple more coils to do here, but first I want to tighten these coils together, just like that. And that looks exactly right. So I'm just going to bring that right around to the back. And I'm going to go ahead and snip it off just like I have been doing the whole time. I'm ready to end it. And I'm ready to tuck my final sharp end in. Now I left that a little bit long, so I'm going to take it a little shorter. And I'm going to tuck that end till I can't feel anything sharp with my fingers like that. It's a little bit difficult to do these wire wrap tutorials, on camera. But I think we did pretty good. And there's my 2 earrings in a fairly perfect mirror image of each other. And they look really nice in the light. I can't really show you guys that here, but like hung up in the light, they're really, really pretty. The champagne seed beads match the the beautiful warm tone of the bronze wire, and the little violet 6mm crystals are a really pretty rich deep color for winter, and I just think they went really pretty together. So that is it for today. I hope you like these tutorials. I like making wire jewelry. It's a little complicated to try to get enough room to do it on camera. That's why I have chosen to do a lot of it with step-by-step pictures in written form over on the blog, because it's just so much simpler and easier for me to show you step-by-step exactly how to do these coils. It's much easier to see that way. So head on over to the Alluring Bead Boutique and check out some of my great tutorials for these beautiful wire-wrapped components and great design options that you can choose from. Make some beautiful holiday gifts or just some spectacular earrings for you to wear for yourself. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, follow my blog, and subscribe to the Bead newsletter. I want to thank you guys for watching, and have a beautiful day.